Hands up, who thought the Eagles would be picking at number 12 in this year's NFL draft by the end of Friday afternoon? Yeah, me neither. Welcome everyone to another video here on Philly Sports Network, and it's an absolute wildcard. NFL draft landscape flipped on its head earlier this afternoon with a pair of shocking trades. The San Francisco 49ers first traded with the Miami Dolphins up to 3rd overall in the draft, ready to get their quarterback of the future. And just as the dust was beginning to settle and I was writing an article on how this impacts the Eagles, Howie Roseman got a bit of FOMO and wanted a piece of the pie for himself. He then traded with the Miami Dolphins, and the Eagles are now moving back in the NFL draft. Here is everything you need to know, guys, about this move and what it means for the team. Before we get into it, it will be amazing if you could leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and more than anything, let me know down in the comments how you're feeling, because I'm sure there are plenty of mixed opinions, and I always love reading all of your thoughts about moves like this, because they are bound to polarize the fan base and split it in two. I'm personally on the fence. I can totally see the logic in it, but before we get to that, we need to understand why the trade was made and what value it has here for the Eagles. If we were to go off of the value of the NFL draft chart alone that gives each pick a contextual value, it's a good move for Philadelphia. Picked overall pick is worth 1,600 points. Now, the Eagles get back pick number 12, which is 1,200. Pick number 1, 2, 3, which is worth 49. And if we estimate a strong season for Miami next year, they get a first rounder with a rough value of 800, depending, if they make the playoffs and so forth. So, Miami were trading up. They were the aggressors. They had to give up some leverage, make it worthwhile for Philadelphia. So, what you're looking at is a rough value of 1,650. For the 6th overall pick, and of course the 5th round at pick 156, and they get back around 1,850 worth of value, which is pretty good for Philadelphia. You can understand logically why they made that decision. So now we know the values there. Why was it made? I'm hoping, and I say hoping because this might not be the case at all, and it could just be that Howie Roseman has woken up on a Friday and felt pretty dangerous, but I'd like to think that a light bulb has gone off in his head and he's realised, minor quibble, I can't keep building a roster by backloading contracts and giving out dummy years and asking veterans to restructure after just paying them, because A, it just makes things 10 times worse the next year, and B, none of it's sustainable. The guys are getting older. They're going to need their money eventually, and we end up having to part ways because we can't pay the guys we want to, a la Eagles tight end Zach Ertz. So I'm hoping what this resembles is a change of heart for Howie Roseman, and he's gone, now we have to get younger and build around our team and find these new cornerstones. They now have 3 first-round picks next year, which is substantial. That is very, very good for a team that needs a retooling. So if you go back to 2016 when Carson Wentz was drafted and you look at the moves that were being made, Malcolm Jenkins gets a new deal, McLeod gets bought in, Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks both get new deals, Jason Peters gets a shiny contract, Jason Kelsey gets one, obviously Zach Ertz gets paid as well, Carson Wentz comes in. They were cornerstones of the team across the board at every spot. Now those guys either aren't around anymore, injuries have hit, the cap value's through the roof, or there are significant question marks, or in some cases, all of them, which isn't good. So they need to hit reset and find those long-term cornerstones behind those players. Maybe it is a new offensive tackle behind Lane Johnson who can go alongside Jordan Mailata. Maybe they flip Andre Dillard. Maybe it is a long-term tight end. They still, realistically, next year are going to have to pay Dallas Goedert, then the next year Miles Sanders. We don't know if they're going to have the capital to do that. You've got Derek Barnett on the edge, who is about as useful as a bucket in a flash flood. So that's a problem. He's worth $10 million. Brandon Graham's getting no younger. There's no depth behind Josh Sweat. There are so many needs. Cornerback is another one. Darius Slay won't be around forever. And at the minute, on the other side of him, it's like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Everyone is under 5'10". It's tragic. It has to be a sense that, guys, we can't retool everything here. There is no way we can get enough players straight up to fix this team. We're not one piece away. We're not Kyle Pitts away from the NFC East crown anymore. We're not Jamar Chase away from a playoff run. We're not Jalen Waddle away from a potential championship game. There is a lot more going on with this team than meets the eye. They have to stand back, and hopefully this resembles that change of heart and what could be a slightly longer term rebuild. Fair play to Howie. He tried to avoid the Super Bowl hangover. He ended up on the fattest come down known to mankind instead. And Here we are, but better late than never, right? Now, the other element to this is the Eagles tried to trade up for a quarterback, so this is where things get very, very wild. So apparently, they wanted to move up to number 3 to get BYU's Zach Wilson, which, if you watched my last video on Joe Flacco and how he's the worst person to mentor Jalen Hurts because he doesn't like, you know, the idea of a younger guy coming in, that makes that signing look absolutely pitiful in every sense of the word. If you've heard Joe Flacco's press conference and how he doesn't want to back up Jalen Hurts, he wants to prove he can compete and he doesn't want to be some old guy and he can still win football games. The idea that he went to Denver and they brought in Drew Lock, that in Baltimore they brought in Lamar Jackson, he detested both scenarios, and now he comes in here, says that, and how he goes, yeah, let's draft a quarterback, let's trade up, let's do that. Not great, but obviously the bigger overarching factor is what it means for Jalen Hurts. I'd like to think that with the 3rd overall pick being out of bounds, the Eagles are going to ride the wave of Jalen Hurts, and I think that's important. Now, is Jalen Hurts going to look at the fact the Eagles traded up for Zach Wilson almost and be a bit upset about it? Probably. Is Howie Roseman doing the exact same thing he did last year? Absolutely. Is Jalen Hurts a better character to handle it? I think so. Now, the thing with Jalen Hurts now is that he's kind of in a very good spot, because if things go tits up and he doesn't perform next year and he does struggle a little bit, he's probably going to be out in the building, and the Eagles are going to end up with another pick to further get their guy or do whatever they want. If he does perform, the Eagles have 3 first-round picks to surround him with the talent that he needs. That will be a number 1 playmaker. It could be a new tackle. It could be a new center to replace Jason Kelce. And that's good. That gives you a foundation to build on. That couldn't be better. So it's almost an incentive for Jalen Hurts. If he goes out and he leads the team to an NFC East crown, or he puts up 500 rushing yards and over 3,500 passing yards, whatever it might be, whatever grade you want to use to measure him on, if he goes out and proves to be, hey, I can lead this franchise forward, why wouldn't you then use those first-round picks to build around him? It makes a lot of sense. If it doesn't work out and Hurts isn't the guy and he falls drastically short of expectation and those flaws that we saw in his rookie season are still present, then fair enough. You move him on, you get some capital back, and you may have 4 first-round picks or 3 first-rounders and a third. Whatever it might be, you've got enough capital there to go out and secure the guy you want in what is another quarterback-friendly draft class. I get it. I like that move in a perspective where it gives Jalen Hurts that chance of, if you ball out, this is your team and we've got a lot of capital to build around you. If you don't, see you later, pretty much. It's kind of all or nothing here, but I think given his experience in Alabama, he's gonna, given what he experienced last year, I think he's gonna be probably the best person possible to handle that sort of situation. Now, obviously, there are gonna be the Eagles fans who are not happy that the idea of Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase has been ripped from them. I'm not that fussed by it because they were never really a Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase away from doing anything notable. And I think they would have probably been wasted for their first 2 years in Philadelphia. If we're being brutally honest with ourselves, nothing would have happened instantly, wouldn't have gone very well. So I think that if you go back to 12, there is a chance that Jalen Waddle could slip. There is a chance that Devonta Smith could slide. You could still get that playmaker, but it opens up more optionality. The truth is the Eagles have so many holes on this roster that the more draft picks you get, the more cheaper contracts you can get, the more you can develop those talents, the better. The bad thing is it banks a lot on this coaching staff, and the Eagles, looking back, have not built a good coaching staff traditionally to develop talent. You can go back to Chip Kelly and acknowledge that all of these draft picks, none of them have turned out well. You can look at wide receivers, Jalen Reagor, EJ Arcega-Whiteside, 2 top-round picks, 2 mid-round picks in Hightower and Watkins. All of them could have reformed careers under a new coaching staff that knows how to use them properly and doesn't make them do everything a la Arcega-Whiteside. You look at cornerback, Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones, both kicked out into oblivion, both became serviceable starters outside of Philadelphia. This team has had a real problem developing talent, developing drafted talent, and you are hoping, you are banking now that Sirianni and his staff are able to take that baton and make it better and develop players and put that at the forefront. And if they can, this trade has a potential to be a significant one in a turning point of the franchise, in righting that ship. If it doesn't, it's going to be a bumpy few years. But overall, I like the logic of the move. I understand it. What do you guys think of it? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching today's video. From myself, Liam Jenkins. Buckle up for what could be a wild off-season. Plenty of mock drafts and stuff coming your way soon. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Liam Jenkins PSN. We'll see you soon.